What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII's Remake before it's released. So I kind of want to go over my impressions of it, my overall thoughts, in kind of like a preview format before this game releases. And it's releasing in just over 1 week. Now, part of this, too, is the fact that, it's being released early in some places. It's being shipped out. Square Enix has even issued out statements saying, like, hey, we can't control this kind of stuff. They're just going out. There is going to be spoilers, all that kind of stuff. And so let me start this. And so, again, this is kind of a preview without me doing a deep dive, so I'm not going to get into super specifics of the game, but it's more or less talking about my, my overall opinion about the game going in. And again, I want to start being open and honest with you guys. I feel like that'll make me seem as good as I can possibly look, because I don't want to try and fool you guys. I don't want to lie to you, and I never have in the first place. But here's the deal. With Final Fantasy, I'm an extremely, and I do mean this, extremely late adopter. I believe I jumped in with Final Fantasy 15. My sister actually played Final Fantasy 13, and that's, I believe, one of the first times I had ever even seen or heard about Final Fantasy, right? Seeing Lightning, that was like the first time I'd ever done it. I never even played it. I think I played it maybe a little bit, but I never, did it like a huge deep dive into it. So I'm a very, very late adopter to it. And obviously you hear these stories about Final Fantasy VII. You hear about it being one of the greatest games ever. Obviously, like a role model for JRPGs, this kind of stuff. And, well, I'll tell you this, though. I'm getting this game day one. Okay, this is a game that I've pledged my money for. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play it. If you can believe it, I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII. Like I said, I haven't really played any of the Final Fantasy games in general, but this game looks crazy, scary good. It really does. It looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it's got everything that you probably could hope for from not just a Final Fantasy game, but from a game in general. I feel like the world is kind of ready for a game like this. Granted, we've already had it, right? People that have already played this game have already played it, and we're at a point now where you get to relive all those memories. And it's another classic example of a remake, seemingly, now the reviews, at least at the point that I'm recording this, are not out yet, seemingly done right. Everybody seems to absolutely love it. There's the demo, all that kind of stuff. People have re-fallen in love with it. People that have never played it before have fallen in love with it. And again, that's what remakes, I think, are all about. And for one of the first times, truly one of the first times, I'm on the other side of things. When a lot of these games have been remastered and remade over the last couple years, and we've seen a huge push of games being remade, I'm always on the side of, well, I've already played it. I've already played this game, like the Crash games, all of them, Spyro, Shadow of the Colossus, name the game. And there's been quite a few remakes. I've always been part of the original group. For Final Fantasy, I'm not. And so when I always talk about, how it's a test to see if people still like it. Now, this isn't necessarily that. This is just, hey, this is one of the greatest games ever created, and it's been long enough. We can completely reimagine it. We can bring it up to current year and make it look absolutely incredible, and kind of like revitalize it for the the age that we're in now. So it's got that going for it. It's going to get all of the people that originally played it, originally fell in love with it, because it's the same game, but I honestly feel like there's really no way you can make it worse. You can only equal it or make it better. So I feel like you capture them. And then for people that have never played this game before, the talk is all over town, right? It truly is. Everybody under the sun that's played Final Fantasy VII will probably tell you how amazing it is. And for the longest time, we've all kind of just heard that, and I feel like there's definitely different groups of people out there, that will hear that stuff and then do stuff with it. And I'm one of those people that for the longest time have heard it, respected it. I've been like, you know what? I believe you. I believe Final Fantasy VII is an amazing game. I believe you in general when you say Final Fantasy is an amazing franchise. I liked Final Fantasy 15. I actually really liked it. I didn't beat it, but I really liked what I played from it. But I never really could do anything, because I'm not going to go, I don't know, I just never really had the urge to purchase Final Fantasy VII, like the PlayStation Classic or whatever on the PS4 and play it. I never really had that desire. But with this remake, I mean, come on, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Now, it being split into parts, that could definitely upset people. I know when it was first announced, that was something that was kind of upsetting, and that kind of trend, or that kind of talk about it, has definitely gone up and down. I haven't heard so much of it recently. Maybe when the game comes out, you'll start to hear people that, like a huge wave of people that are playing it, maybe they'll start to get mad and say, oh my god, I can't believe it ended here versus here, and I can't believe we have to, because we don't even know when the next part of it is actually coming coming out, although they have restated, like, hey, we're going to keep going. Like, this isn't it. This isn't even the full game. But I feel like, again, this is a perfect spot for this, really. With everything that's going on around the world, we're all sitting at home, we're all doing nothing, we're all having these games, and there's been some absolutely incredible games. And here's the deal: Final Fantasy VII is not for everybody, but for who it is for, I think it's going to be a very, very meaty experience. I think it's going to be a game that you can play for quite a long time. And so for those that have made it to April, maybe Animal Crossing wasn't for you. Maybe you don't have a Switch, or maybe this is a PlayStation exclusive, right? Maybe Doom wasn't for you. Maybe you've just literally been waiting for this game. Maybe you're just a JRPG guy, so you played Persona 5 Royal, and you're gonna get this. They're for different groups of people, absolutely. But I'm honestly super, super excited. I've kept myself out of the spotlight of this for the longest time. I haven't really looked into it. I haven't watched all that much. I have seen, I know what it's going to look like. I know how amazing it's going to be, or I guess I've heard how amazing it's going to be. But for the biggest part of it, I really haven't contributed or listened to all that much, especially of the base game. I feel like I've been told the ending of it, like I'll know the twist, but I feel like it's somewhere in my brain where like I'm not gonna realize it when I'm, you know what I mean? Like it's been something, but I haven't necessarily cared about hearing it all that much. So maybe I haven't retained it in like the deepest parts of my brain, or maybe it is just there, like just waiting, so that when I do get invested with these characters and they do something crazy, which does happen, like maybe I won't remember the character or something. I'm kind of talking myself into hoping that I have forgotten parts of the game that I've been told before, like the big twist, stuff like that. I'm hoping that I don't recall it when I'm actually playing the game. Because to be honest with you, I feel like my odds are actually quite high of forgetting it. So I'm looking forward to that. But this is a game, I think, for the right group of people. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a blast. And again, that's coming from someone who has played one Final Fantasy game. I'm looking forward to this. And that's also a thing, too. This is a chance to get people that Final Fantasy is a hard game to jump into. I don't think just anybody can jump in to a Final Fantasy game. I think you have to be ready for it. You have to be just into those kind of games. Like if you're not into a JRPG game, you really aren't gonna like these games. I truly do believe that. Yes, they've gotten a little bit more like action oriented as we've gone on, and I feel like we're gonna see that in Final Fantasy VII, but still obviously respecting what the base game was. But this truly is a chance to, it's not like they need it. It's not like they need help, because these games always sell very, very well. And they've kind of gotten back on track, especially with 15. I know it wasn't everybody's favorite and there were some problems with it, but I think overall Final Fantasy is in a pretty solid place. I think whatever comes next will be pretty solid as well. So it's not like they need like a huge influx of new people, but you know what, they may get that, because people like me that aren't die-hard Final Fantasy fans. Now I did buy Final Fantasy 15 day one, and I would buy the next one day one as well, but not everybody's like me, right? Some people may just be really, really hesitant to do it, and maybe they've heard a lot of things about Final Fantasy 7, and here's their chance, because you're going to hear a lot about this remake, and I assume people are really going to like it. So maybe you get people that have never played a Final Fantasy game before, and they say, okay, well, if you had to recommend a Final Fantasy game to new people, maybe you would have already recommended 7, and then now here's a remake, so now it looks good, right? You don't have to look at graphics that are decades old, right? And some people may like that, some people may not, and people have never played these games. I don't know if they'd be all that into it. So now you get to show them, hey, look, here's the remake, play this. Maybe you get some new Final Fantasy fans, and honestly, I do believe that's what's going to happen. Do I think they made the remake to do that? No, I don't think that was the plan, but I think that was part of it, where they're like, well, we're going to service the people that have loved this game for decades. We're going to service a brand new generation who have never played this game before, me, or who have started to play Final Fantasy but want to play some of the older games but don't want to do it in their current state. So let's give them this. There's a lot of reasons to make this, and I think it's going to honestly service a lot of different people. I think this game is going to be a really, really big game, and I absolutely cannot wait for it. So guys, let me know in the comments below. Are you getting this game? Are you looking forward to it? Did you play the original Final Fantasy VII, or is this the very first time you're playing it like me? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and thank you, as always, for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there, guys. We're all in this fight together. This stuff around the world will eventually end, and everything eventually will go back to some way being normal, right? So, again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video.